There's one thing I want to say. Through all we have experienced, through all you have experienced, wherever you are having an experience, I want to say, don't become what you despise. Don't become what you despise. Whatever you have experienced has been for the purpose for you to work out doing just that, not becoming what you despise. So it's always another way to look at it. You know, I've been through some shit. You hear me? I've been through some shit. You heard? Just like us all. And I ain't always looked at the shit that I've been through from the healthiest spaces. You know? Sometimes when you don't know no better, you just don't know no better. You know? Especially when you're used to what you used to. And I can relate to all that. Until I couldn't relate to it no more. You hear me? I don't know who I'm talking to, I don't know who I'm talking for. But don't become what you despise. That's the test. And I ain't know that was one of the reasons that make me who I am. Not how y'all see me, but make me who I am from the inside. By paying attention, you know, paying attention to the things they ain't had no business paying attention to, as well as paying attention other things that I should, but paying attention, learning the lessons from the attention given, you know, and not always the first time, you know. I don't bump my head a whole bunch of times, you know, just like some of y'all, you hear me? And we may bump our head a whole bunch of more times. You hear me? Just like some of them. You heard? Those that passed before. Cause it's our turn now. We here now. You know? And each generation has an obligation to set the stage. Or determine how the stage gonna be set by how we play our parts while we here, you know. And those that came before us has done that, and those that come after us gonna do the same thing. But each generation at any particular time, you know, it is influencing what's next. So a lot of what we seeing, regardless of how we feel about it. See this the part. See, a lot of what we seeing, you know, cause it ain't all good and it ain't all bad, but a lot of what we seeing is by our own design. You hear me? We do create our own reality. We do raise up our own realities, you know. All the time. I say that to say, if you ain't healing, you wounded. And if you ain't healing, you ain't the only one wounded. There's people wounded all over the world. You hear me? Concerning something, about something. So I talk about a lot of things that take us into ourselves, so we can do something about it. You hear me? It ain't always about how we feel more than it is what we can do about it. You hear me? Yeah. And somebody got to stir the pot. You heard? Somebody got to stir the pot. So if not me, who? You hear me? And I ain't necessarily here to tell the truth. I'm going to speak the truth, but I ain't here to tell the truth. And the reason why I say that is because truth don't need no help. The lies do. If you don't listen, you're going to miss it. So there's nothing we can't do when we understand who we are, because truth don't need no help. Lies do. You heard? Yeah, you ain't healing, you wounded. And it ain't nothing wrong with being wounded. You know? It ain't nothing about, it ain't nothing wrong with being wounded. More importantly, it's important to know that you're wounded. It's important to know that you're hurting. Because some people don't numb themselves, you know, to the point that they don't know how to feel what they're feeling. And I can relate to that too. I can say I've been there a time or two, you heard? But that ain't a place that we want to stay, you know? It ain't a place that we want to stay. And a lot of times we'll be moving around, you know, amongst people every day. And people is moving around amongst people every day and hurting inside. You hear me? Don't have an outlet to release it. Don't know how to express it. Why is this important? Because if you ain't healing, you wounded. And that ain't no place that I would want my worst enemy to stay in. You hear me? Regardless. You know? So it's important when it comes to what kind of conversations that we have with the people we know. It's important to know what kind of conversations are we having with the people that we having with. You know? How many of us have the same conversations with others that we have with ourselves? No matter how uncomfortable they may be. How many of us have conversations with others that we have with ourselves? Or how many of us just be talking for the sake of being heard? It's a difference. And it matters. Now, some of y'all may have saw the difference right off the rip. And some of y'all, it may take a little moment to come through the cracks. That's okay. That's okay. Truth don't need no help. Only the lies do. What are we telling ourselves? How are we talking to ourselves? You hear me? You know? How do you want people to see you? How do you want people to see you? Not how you would like to be seen. How do you want people to see you? What do you do? What are we doing to bring about that reality? And everything we do and everything we are may not bring about that reality how other people see us, but how we see ourselves, regardless of how people see us, matters. And it's the difference. You hear me? One, we able to, I use these terms for lack of better terms at the moment. One, we able to be an influence by. And one, we gonna be influenced by. But we all get an opportunity to decide. How do you want people to see you? By what you're doing or who you are being. And even furthermore, how do you see yourself? Back to the root. How well do you know yourself as an energetic being? How well do you know yourself as a vibrational being? How well do you know yourself as a frequency in human form? See, these are things for a long time we had no idea of, but they always matter. It always counted, you know. Cause it's hard for us, for those of us who it's hard for, to realize how we create our own reality. So when we go beneath the layers of what can be seen with the physical eye, we start to uncover, we start to learn, we start to discover different things about ourselves that make up how we see ourselves. And in recognition, we have an opportunity to empower ourselves in an improved way, in an upgraded fashion than once we previously, existed. How well do you know yourself energetically, vibrationally, and as a frequency in human form? What do you sense? What do you feel? What do you see? And what do you hear? What do you smell? The reason that I call those things, I use those words, I'll say, is because they apply to things in the unseen. They apply to the realm invisible. Yet, we still have interaction. We still have interaction with it in physical form. What I mean is, you ever sense something that you can't see? Have you ever seen something that you can't feel? Have you ever felt something that you can't hear? Have you ever smelt something that you can't feel? My point is, how much do you trust yourself? How well do you trust it? Do you dream or do you vision? Whatever your answer may be, I hope you look for it within, because that's where it's at. I just came through to give us something to think about. You hear me? Feel good for no reason at all. It takes you to do that. You hear me? Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. To the Cosmic Conscious family and soul tribe, to the new subscribers, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. To the peekaboos and passerbys, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. You know, I wish everybody well, because that's what I expect to receive. You hear me? Put out what you want to come back to you. And remember, don't become what you despise. The truth don't need no help. The lies do. I love y'all. My name is Sawu. Peace.